Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now? I don't know. We'll turn on the comments. We'll see if anyone's got things to say. Well, we survived tornado snowmageddon.
Yeah, that was weird.
The just continued pattern. We've talked about this, for almost a year now, maybe more, about these very narrow bands of severe weather.
Yeah.
And more extreme weather.
It's pretty crazy what's happening.
And I figured if we're going to go unhinged today and we'll play Ask Me Anything about mortgage. AMA.
Yeah.
So I'll go first, Adam.
Okay.
Because we talked about this. So if I have auto insurance and homeowners insurance.
Yes.
And my car's parked outside in a hailstorm like the other day.
Yes.
Do I get cracked on two claims if like my car's toast and my roof's toast? How does that work?
Yeah, so you don't get cracked.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't get cracked either.
Five crack roof.
So you would have to have a claim for each policy that you have. So you'd have a home claim if there was damage. You'd have a car claim if there was damage. So technically 2 claims, because your home insurance doesn't cover your car and vice versa.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Couple things around that. We did have hail. From my knowledge, none of the hail was significant. And significant, I mean large enough. So are we live?
Yeah, we are. I think I'm just messing around, clicking some buttons, pretending to do some stuff.
Like little hail that hits your roof, it's all good. That's probably not going to damage anything. That won't stop storm chasers from knocking on your door and trying to make themselves some money by telling you that you might have damage because your neighbor has damage. And then they'll have you sign something. You'll put a claim in. Claim adjuster will come out and say, there's no hail damage here, but now you have a claim. You lost your claim-free discount, and there's lots of problems that happen. So my advice, get with a local roofer. If you think you have damage, the first call should not be your insurance company. Your insurance company should be the last call once you've got with somebody who says, yeah, you got hail damage up here, and we need to call the insurance company and see what's going on with the claim.
Yeah, we've talked about this several times now. As soon as you make that phone call about a claim, all of a sudden claim free goes away.
Yeah.
And I would venture to guess that's a pretty substantial discount.
It's a big one. It's, a couple $100, but over years that can add up, right? And if you think about it, think it all the way through. For you to call the insurance company and for them to send someone out, what do you think that cost the company to do?
I would venture to guess that it's probably $300 or $400.
It's in the thousands.
Oh, all right.
Because now you're talking about someone in the office has to process it. Then we have to get it to the team. Then the team's got to send somebody to drive them out. So it's like $2,000-$3,000 just to open up a claim. So there's a financial piece of that. So that's why people get, there was no claims paid. Well, yeah, but you made a claim that costs money. So that's kind of like the reason why that goes away, even if there was no claim paid.
Okay.
It also will affect you as your time goes on. So if you have a frequency and you're kind of a habitual claim maker, even if there's nothing paid out, if I'm an insurance company looking at the Perri household and the Perri household makes a claim every year, we know it's going to cost us $6,000 a year because of you just being a customer, and your homeowner's insurance is how much?
The $1,800.
Yeah. So that's why people can't just put in claims, and why you should get good advice. Find out if there's actually damage before you put a claim in, and then really have a conversation around, all right, my deductible's $2,000. The claim here is $3,000. Should I be claiming this?
Yeah.
Probably not.
If the contractor knocking on all the doors in your neighborhood has a microscope on your roof,
yes,
probably not a real issue.
Right. But Tony, that's what I have insurance for, right?
Yeah.
Should I make a claim? Listen, here's what you have insurance for. It is your emergency fund that you're financing to make the emergency fund bigger, right? So if you have an emergency fund that can cover a loss, it's more cost effective to your financial unit to cover it out of your own pocket.
Yep.
That's the way insurance works, but people think it's not. So it's
and we worry about, we had a little pellet size hail, pretty small, very narrow the other day on Wednesday or Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And I saw
there was a lot of it though.
Yeah. And I saw a notification though from a couple of meteorologists, and I'm a weather nerd. Growing up, the Weather Channel was my favorite thing to watch. And there's another convective energy building up at Friday.
Yes.
So like, be reasonable maybe when you're approaching this stuff. Like, do you want to worry about like that 35 seconds of real small hail, or what happens when there's softball size hail and or substantial wind damage?
Right.
And now you're on claim too.
Right. Yeah. So you just got to make sure you're doing it smart. Use it when you should use it, and look at it as a financial tool and not necessarily, I need a new roof, I hope a storm comes, which everyone says and jokes about, and that's great. But
if you're joking about it, there's probably some serious thought in there.
Yeah.
Last question on that then, an interesting one about car insurance. If we know, or you know, that the car is parked at a house that doesn't have a carport or a garage, from a security standpoint of car theft potential and or hail or external element damage, does that increase your cost of car insurance at all?
So that's not like a question that's on an application. Now, I will say this, AI is getting wild. So, insurance companies, like most companies, are in the data business.
Yes.
So if you are in a neighborhood that doesn't have garages, what will probably most likely happen is you will have in that neighborhood or zip code a higher loss frequency and or severity, right? So that over time will affect your rate.
Okay.
But per se, like, I'm not asking you where the car is kept, but it might be present in the background data of your rate.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was curious on that one. So I know, like, for boat coverage, I think one of your guys' questions was, where is the boat stored and all of that stuff. So I wasn't sure if car also applied there.
No, but that's a good one. I mean, for the boat, for sure, because most of the time that boat's not on the water. So where is it? And so we can rate for the risk while it's on the lake, but where you keep it outside of the lake.
I drive it up and down 41.
Yeah, with the straps off.
No trailer. No, I know, just the boat.
Just the boat.
I put wheels on it.
Nice.
It's
like Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, exactly. It's a real good time out there on 41 with that thing.
I got questions.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so I am gonna buy a house.
Okay.
And I am freaked out because I read some books that I don't want people pulling my credit. I don't want a hard pull my credit, right?
All right.
So I'm only going to go to one person, and I don't want anyone else to pull it.
Okay.
Is that smart?
Let's talk about a few things on that. Okay. So when a company like us registers with a credit vendor, we have to indicate our permissible use to access credit data.
Got it.
So it is specifically for us to provide residential mortgage financing. Why does that matter? Because when you call me and you have that question, we talk about that inquiry. That inquiry from my company to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian is going to be coded RMCR, Residential Mortgage Credit Report.
Got it.
So through all of the Fair Credit and every other alphabet agency that exists out there, the government said that clients or borrowers cannot be penalized for 3 to 4 inquiries coded as RMCR in a 90 to 120 day window.
Okay, say that again, slower.
So it is the type of credit inquiry.
Got it.
Has a lot of forgiveness to it.
Okay.
So the government, do I like when people shop? Not really, but you have the right to do it.
Right.
So when we pull your credit, when it's coded RMCR, we would say, okay, Adam, this credit report is going to be RMCR, Residential Mortgage Credit Report. That is not going to have a tangible impact on your credit score.
Okay.
You can have 3 to 4 of those in a 90 to 120 day window before it becomes a excessive inquiry situation.
Got it.
So let's talk about that though. This is where all of that builds up. Okay. When we pull your credit, we have to provide, we don't. TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian have to provide a list of reasons why your credit score is not perfect.
Got it.
So depending on which FICO version we're using, between 820 and 850 are the perfect scores.
Got it.
Well, what happens when you have like damn near perfect credit, silver medal credit, if you will, and you're not perfect? Like, it doesn't give you the perfect score. They have to put reasons on there.
I just say why.
Yeah. One credit card inquiry, or I'm sorry, more than one credit card inquiry in a 24-month period is enough to trigger the excessive inquiry.
Just
reasoning.
more than one?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't have like, if you have credit depth and a credit like a deep credit profile, it's not going to have a real impact.
We're talking about like 1 or 2 or 5 points or something.
Yeah. If that, like once you're above a 760, and there's no difference between a 760 and an 850.
As far as rate.
As far as rate, fee, how a file's underwritten, all of that stuff.
So 760 is like, I made it.
Yeah, it used to be 740,
Okay.
but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the GSEs are all starting to up that threshold to 760 because in October of this year, we'll see if it finally happens. But we're going to be moving off of the 3 bureau model and moving into a 2 bureau model.
Got it.
And then they're going to move off of FICO version 2, which is 17 years old, and they're going to move into either Advantage 3.0 or FICO version 8. Which is a more recent scoring model, and that what they found is the results are going to have you're going to have a higher credit score for mortgage underwriting purposes.
Interesting.
Yeah, super boring stuff, but we get that question a lot. So what happens? Right now we have people that kind of want to dip their toe into the water and just see what it looks like and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I want to be a year away. We have the opportunity to do what's called a soft credit pull.
Soft pull.
Yep. So we can do that. That will give us a ballpark on your credit score. And we're able on a conventional loan, we're able to run that through automated underwriting to see if we're able to get your file approved or not. It's like if you're going to be in a marginal debt to income ratio.
So you can start working so people can start working at numbers and what's my budget? Can I even qualify for this? What house should I be looking at?
Yeah, it's like it's there because we have all the trigger leads and all this stuff, and we're starting to see Idaho actually just push out a law about banning trigger lead stuff. But if you want to dip your toe in the water, I have no problem having that conversation. The difference there, though, is when we pull a credit score that is going to require or where FHA or a USDA or a VA loan is going to make the most sense, we need a full credit inquiry for that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest misconception, right? We talked about all of these inquiries and dings on credit score. What happens is we're measuring your credit score when you're talking to a mortgage company at FICO version 2. When you're looking at your Discover card or your Capital One card or Chase,
that's a different credit model.
They're either Vantage 3.0.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Or FICO version 8.
Okay.
So those newer models, their higher score, the highest score normally there is an 850. The FICO version 2 is around 820.
Got it.
So we're measuring like inches to millimeters, kind of, or like I always compare people if you're a gearhead or you like to work on stuff, SAE to metric, like is it 3/8 or is it 17 millimeters?
Yeah,
just enough to frustrate you.
Makes sense.
That happens. The other thing when we talk about like heavy inquiries. When you go to a car dealership.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
So they'll
like shop it between like 5 different people, right?
If you're lucky, only 5. So the terminology that they use in the F&I, they're shotgun your credit out.
Yeah.
So like in the mortgage world, you apply a mortgage with me. I can take your credit report and I can package it and transfer it to a specific lender that we would be delivering that loan to.
Without pulling it again.
Correct.
Yeah.
In the car world, that doesn't happen. So you could go to local car dealership down the street and they'll run you through whatever brand the dealership is. They'll run you through a local
Wells Fargo. Yeah.
Because they're looking to
with the best rate.
Deal. Yeah, they want to get the best rate. They want to they make money.
Does that hurt your score?
Yes. Because when we talk about permissible use.
Yeah.
So now the difference there is you're applying for consumer credit, not residential mortgage, right? So when it's an algorithm, the credit score is a Z-score. If you took stats class, you'd understand it's a probability of you paying your bill. If all of a sudden you have 18 inquiries, all consumer-based credit extension requests, you look and the algorithm reads that as you're desperate for credit.
They're like, why is this guy trying to get his hands on all this money?
Yeah, like is this guy trying to do the rack it up and run?
Seems risky.
The rack it up and run or the rack it up and file BK route, because unfortunately bad people did bad things and good people can get punished for it.
Or it could be looked at, the way I look at it is like, okay, Tony's going to go buy this new Tahoe and he hasn't, he's going to get extended a credit line of whatever, 70 grand. Like you haven't necessarily had that payment in your life. So maybe we don't know how you're going to react. Maybe that will spin you out or whatever. So, I mean, if you can just really understand that, honestly, credit and insurance, they're really just trying to measure how risky of an investment you are on both sides. It's literally just dealing in risk.
Are we going to have to pay a claim, or we have to take this asset that is financed back, a house, a car, right? So when you go to a car dealership, what I always encourage people to do, especially if you're also in the market to buy a house, there's that whole, don't apply for credit while this is going on. Talk to your mortgage person first. I have had clients buy cars during the transaction. We knew about it. We knew exactly how to handle it. But don't get ran up into, hey, just go to the F&I guy. They're going to run through 100 credit inquiries. Say, I do not want my credit to be shotgunned out. I believe I'm A tier. Can you just find 1 or 2 places that are going to take A tier? So whatever it is, 740 plus with a 5 or a 10% down payment, and just park it at one of those places. I'm also in the process of buying a house. If they don't respect that, they don't respect you. Like, I mean, what else are they going to do to you on a car at that point, right? Like, be upfront about it, and then say, hey, okay, we signed on this. Hey, can you guys scan that truth in lending disclosure over to me so I can send it to my mortgage guy?
Bingo.
It doesn't hurt like that. Credit cards, a lot of a common one too, right? Like all of a sudden you get 3 or 4 inquiries for those.
Right.
That will crush your score, especially if you're maxed out or nearly maxed out on other credit.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, it's just like that your credit score is so important to like your financial health and how much things cost you in your entire life. And there's just so much like uncertainty or unclarity for most consumers about how deep that goes. We'd probably get shut off the air on this one. We could go into the entire conspiracy theory about FICO and how it's cornering the market. They basically have an unfair advantage on things, but there's so much misconception. I talked to a guy last night. He's like, well, I don't know why I've worked for this employer for 12 years, why that doesn't help my credit score. And I was like, you know what? Like, I get it, because when you see these models and you see like the Experian website, it's like, oh, my employer's on there. Yeah. Well, your employer's on there because it's a data verification process. It's not. It doesn't help your credit score. Same thing with, my debt to income ratio. That should help my credit score. No, that actually doesn't help your credit score. It's because they don't know it. Right. Yeah. I mean, you could just type in. They know it. Yeah. They could probably figure it out because data, everything's for sale. But that's, again, those questions that happen that we get that intimidate people a lot. And we know that credit also has a general impact in the insurance cost too. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And if you think about it, it's risk. So credit is such a good measurement of how risky a person is with their money. Why wouldn't that make sense in an insurance world? Why, like, that's, people are so upset. Well, why is insurance, why is that affecting my rate on my credit? Well, because it's a pretty good indicator of you and how you deal with money. Yeah. So, and insurance is really just a financial tool. So. I could tell you, I tell people this all the time, and I'm not joking, within a 7-minute conversation with somebody, I could probably have their credit score pinned within 5 to 10 points. Yeah. If I see their bank statements, I don't have to pull your credit. If I see your bank statements and have that conversation with you, probably narrowed it within 3 points. Yeah. I will say that one thing that's going on right now, again, customer that I talked to last night about his employment. So he got roped into this company. We need to talk about this for a second. A debt consolidation company, okay? And his credit score dropped 192 points. He couldn't believe it. He didn't understand why. He thought it was going to help it. Correct. Because, hey, I'm consolidating my debt. I'm going to get out of this stuff. Yeah. Okay, this is the method of that company, right? Their economic driver is to get you out of debt, to get you to $0 on these outstanding bills, okay? They're not trying to get your credit prepped so that you can qualify for a mortgage. Right. So what they do is they tell you you send your payments to them. They hold the payment or withhold the payments from the creditors and then try to negotiate like it's a hostage transaction. Like it's Somali pirates. It's like Somali pirates in the Suez Canal. But your debt is the hostage. Yeah, and then but your credit score keeps going down because they're holding your payment and they're driving your credit score down. So he had 3 90-day late payments on credit cards that were maxed out. He didn't know it. Correct, because guess what? You Google this company, A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Wow.
all kinds of great reviews. And it's because what they did is they leveraged places and they helped a person that wants to get out of their credit card debt, but they don't.
Which isn't a bad thing, right?
No.
So like, you just got to understand, like, there's a flip side to it. And then how long is it going to take you once you get that? Because getting rid of debt's good. And, you know, that's a good thing. Well, bad debt is a good thing. But there's a cost, and it's time, right? It's time to get your.
He is going to have to pay rent at $2,000 a month for a house that probably should rent at $1,500 a month for the next 2 years while they try to unbury and undo this catastrophic damage.
So he probably paid this company to do what they're doing.
They took all his money.
And they took it all.
They took $6,000.
And now he's paying his landlord an extra. So just like, I think the moral of the story is like, get with someone who you could bounce these things off.
He literally told me, I wish I would have talked to you 4 months ago.
Ugh,
and I said, yeah,
heart,
me too. And I was like, because that company's doing something that I could run a scenario for you and put the map together and tell you how to do it without having to damage your credit.
Yeah.
And it's just because he was like, right, they're salespeople. Their economic driver is, hey, we're getting you out of debt. They don't care that you were trying to buy a house.
Yeah, they didn't probably even ask that. They don't care.
They're not going to, because it's going to create an objection. And that's the difference between doing business with people like us and some of the agents we have on the show. You know, we're not afraid to tell you the right thing. We're not going to sit there and leverage or risk our career, our reputation for a quick, easy sale. We'll tell you the right thing 105% of the time.
Yep.
Anything else?
Even if it costs us money, whatever, it'll come back.
I mean, it comes back in money. It comes back in good karma too.
What was so far? Have you been watching the tournament?
A little bit.
Same. Best finish you've seen?
Best finish. How about just a solid closeout? Not even like a dramatic. Like Kentucky just icing U of I.
Yeah. Although like U of I just could have played consistently, and then that one, like at the end they had that video thing where they're trying to see who went out of bounds. Dude, his knee hit the guy's arm when he was shooting a three, but no one was talking about that.
You got that? Did you see the Wisconsin's trying to appeal something for
I didn't.
A guy dunking after the game was over, and it's supposed to be a technical foul. Oh. And so they would get 2 free throws that they could have tied the game.
Oh no, I did not see that. But Maryland, I think it was at that last minute they beat Iowa State. I want to say it was Maryland. Anyways, dude just took the ball. They were down 1, just took it to the hole, banked it in.
Maryland now part of the Big Ten.
Yeah,
what the Big Ten? It's like why you have NCAA? We're not even having an NCAA tournament anymore. Let's have the Big Ten tournament.
Big Ten tournament
with 95 teams.
It's the Big Ten, SEC, and the Big East, and then there's everyone else.
That's you might as well just have your own tournament here, and then just move everyone else to the NIT or something.
I haven't even really been watching. Who's like the sleeper right now? Who's like the Cinderella thing? Because McNeese State got booted.
Except, do you see their manager got a
NIL?
Yeah, I was trying to make a promo video for this with a video of him saying, if this guy can get an NIL deal, we can help you with buying a house and getting proper insurance.
So good. How much do you think that guy made? I want to see the deal.
We'll pull it up.
We'll pull that up. We need to get Buffalo Wild Wings and like some cookie company, I think.
We'll have to get some interns to dig that stuff up.
Dig it up, interns.
Yeah.
Dig it up.
Wake up. Anything else?
No.
All right. We ran probably a little long on it, but we talked about some good stuff. I think maybe we'll just run and ask us anything type operation here on the days with just you and
send us a message if the 4 people that are watching, if you got a question.
Yeah. You can always call us too. You can get Adam at adamismyagent.com. You get me with theplywithjr.com. Other crazy weather coming up here this weekend too. So again, be mindful, as Adam told us a million times here. You call about a claim, it is a claim.
If they knock on your door about damage, tell them to go away and do not sign anything. Please.
But that's like, so if I'm like, I mean, I am your client, but if I'm at my front door and someone's giving me a piece of paper, I can call your office, talk to someone at your office and say, hey guys, Brett, Brian, whoever it is, and say, hey, this person knocked on my door and they gave me this. Is this going to create a claim, a problem?
Yes, don't sign it.
Has your company dealt with these people before?
We can help you out.
That's it. So talk to your agent. Don't just hit the claim button.
Bingo.
Deuces.
I'm done. Cut the show.